Greetings everyone and welcome back to 365 Days of Prog. Today we're gonna listen to Obscura by Gorguts.
Hi, my name's Naomi. I'm an avid progressive rock fan, but I'm a long ways from knowing all the prog albums out there. But this year, I'm gonna give it a try. This is 365 Days of Prog.
So this might be the darkest, the most metalish covered death metal, album we've got on here. It was a unique experience for me nonetheless, and I think it will say a lot when I share with you a lot of my favorite bits of this album, because there's actually quite a lot of them. If the name Gorguts doesn't imply, or if you don't know it already, so this band is an, let's say, extreme prog metal band or even a death metal band, but they also do prog in their music, and I love that combination very much because it exposes me to one of the, further ends of metal while still remaining under the prog genre. Now, if you follow this channel for a while, you might know that I am not a metalhead in any way, shape or form, and usually when I see that we have a metal, album coming up, I get, dreadful about it. And this album was particularly dreadful for me because starting to read about it, I realized that this was going to be something way heavier than all the other things we've listened to on here so far. And it made me really, really anxious. And this album also has a runtime of 1 hour, so I knew that if I was not going to like it, I'd have to spend like a full hour of just not liking this album. But fortunately, this album turned out to be pretty good. When the first song called Obscura came up, suddenly all my, dreadfulness and all my, anxiousness just went away, and I realized that this was going to be something special and something unique because I really enjoyed that song. Like, I had a genuine good time listening to it. Not objectively, totally subjectively, I love that song. And if that tells you anything, it wasn't even my favorite. So the fact that I love this song tells you that there is more to come because there's so much good songs on here. Now, I don't know if it's like a side effect of having COVID or not, I have no idea, but I can tell you for sure that if I would have listened to this specific album at the start of the year, like before I actually exposed myself to a lot of different other albums, I would have despised this album to my bones, like I can tell you this for sure. But I think that I've come up to this point gradually, and I've listened to a fair amount of metal albums, and they all range with like difficulty and heaviness, let's say, and I think that the fact that I can actually listen to an album like this and enjoy it despite of all the darkness, like, the growling, the screaming, the hard playing, is just amazing to me, and I love it because it shows some progress in myself, which also makes me sort of a prog person. Now, this album is unique because I've read a few reviews about it beforehand, and it has some, similar claim made by a lot of people, which I don't really usually find on other albums. And the claim is that this album is so good in its genre that it just sort of eradicates all the other albums in this genre. They don't match up to this one in any way, shape or form. And when seeing and reading that, I thought to myself that, oh boy, this is going to be a fantastic album probably, because there's no way that an album can be so good, like beyond its counterparts and like, the other albums of the same genre. But with so many people claiming that it is, this had to be something special. And is the music on Obscura good? Well, the answer is yes, it is very, very good, and I love how they approach the progressiveness on this album, because usually what I like to get with prog music is, like fast shifts between like different motives and ideas. Like you have this one idea and then like suddenly cut and you've got the next thing going on, and that's usually what I like about prog. But this album features something completely different. It stays progressive, but the shift between ideas and, emotions, let's say, it happens really gradually and slowly. And what might seem like repetition at the start is actually a gradual and slow shift of tone in the music, like in such a slow pace that you really have to immerse yourself in it to really feel the changes going on. And you do get some really stark progressive moments on this album, which are not so gradual, they're just really in your face, and it mostly comes in the form of guitar solos. Firstly, the solos themselves, like the sound of the guitar, the timbre of it, using some filters I suppose, it just makes the sound so unique and so unlike anything I've ever heard. And secondly, the note progressions on most solos are really, sort of psychedelic in some way, and that's really cool because it's a cool combination to take this really heavy music, like, drum driven music, and give it this psychedelic solo on top of it. And I think that's most prominent in the song Subtle Body, which has what I believe to be the best guitar solo found on Obscura. Now, I'd like to put an emphasis yet again about the fact that I really like this album, and that I think it's a great album. And the reason I'm telling you all of this again is because I do have some criticism about this album, and I'll give it to you in points, but know that none of these things is really that crucial to me. I just believe that those are some things that I would note out for this album, and things that I didn't particularly love all that much. So the growling on this album, I don't really love growling in its essence, but on this album it was fine for me, although the growling itself by Luc Lemay, if I'm not mistaken, sounds to me like a squealing hog that is really whining in this odd falsetto, and that combination is so odd. Like, I don't know even how you can manage to create these sounds out of your body, but apparently he can, and I'm not a big fan of it. Besides the last track of Sweet Silence, you can't really hear the bass on most of this album, and that's really unfortunate because I think that if you have this really heavy and dark album which is featured with a lot of bass instruments, I would expect the bass to be more prominent and more amped up in the entire mixing. Clouded was my least favorite track, and by a long shot on here, so most of the songs on here ranged from, let's say, 6 to 9 on the rating, and this song was a definite 4. It is almost 10 minutes long. It is so slow in its tempo. I was expecting it to, start off slow and then pick up the pace, but no, the entire song is just really slow and really dragging, and I don't like it. And another criticism that has nothing to do with the album itself: what the fuck is wrong with the song titles and the captioning on Spotify? They're written in this, 2 words, then a comma, and then a the, and the has a caption on it, and I don't get what's going on, because when I checked it online, the song titles were completely fine. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, just search up this album on Spotify, you'll see exactly what I mean. And the last thing is, although the lyrics are really well written and quite vivid actually, I don't think that they match the music and the melody all that well. They are kind of dissonant, and I suppose that's something they were trying to get at, but for some reason I found it a bit off-putting. Now, the funny thing is, on the song Illuminatus, the lyrics are actually rhymed with one another, and it was so surprising for me to see it because I wasn't expecting the lyrics to start rhyming at any point, and that was really odd, and probably what made this song my favorite in many aspects, although there's a lot of good things about Illuminatus. And that song actually made me want to, move my head around, but not in this, headbang fashion, going like this. I actually went ahead and did this. I was bobbing my head to this, dark heavy metal song, and I was yeah, this is fun. I'm having fun. What are these rhymes? I don't know. This album just brought out sides out of me that I did not know existed. I started conflicting with my own, inner self on this album. This cover, it's sweet, it's ominous, it's mesmerizing. And oh boy, do I love the time when death metal bands actually had tangible logos that you could actually read. And the figure in the middle kind of resembles a hog to me. I don't know why, but I don't think that it has anything to do with the hog-like squealing that Luc Lemay does on here, but maybe it does, although I don't think it does. And as a simple cover purist myself, I approve of this cover. So, counting out the unbearable Clouded song on here, this album gets a very well-deserved 8 out of 10. But that's about it, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for tomorrow because we're going to be listening to Detachment, because it's in all caps, by Baroque Project. But that's about it. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Bye, guys.